Here's a video on evaluating expressions, which means you're plugging in the numbers into the variable for x, or for whatever letter is in the problem. So in this, I have this expression right here, and we have two different situations. So the first one is going to be if it wants us to plug in x equals 2, and then the second is if x equals negative 3. So we're going to use the same expression for both of these letters we're going to plug in. So the first one on the left, I'm going to replace the x. Each time I see an x in this expression, so right here and right here, I'm going to replace the x with the letter 2. All we're doing is plugging it in. So I have 2 times the x, which is 2 squared, plus 5 times the x value happens to be 2 again, plus 3. Now it's the same x right here. So this is in red. I'm replacing each of the x's with the number 2. So now we're going to go through the order of operations. So first thing is in parentheses, but parentheses is really when you're distributing some things. So next thing will be our exponent. So I'm going to deal with this part right here first. So I have 2 squared, which means 2 times itself. So 2 times 2, which happens to be 4. And I'm going to copy everything else down here. Now, just so you know, this little dot right here and this parenthesis, they both mean to multiply. So it's the same thing, they just look different. But either you're doing the same steps when you see either this dot between two numbers, or when you see the parentheses between two numbers, you're going to multiply next. So that's the next step in our order of operations. So I'm going to multiply this stuff together and then this stuff. So I have 2 times 4 is 8, plus 5 times 2 is 10, and I have a plus 3. Just copying down what we didn't use. So last is to add everything up. So I have 8 plus 10 is 18, plus 3 will give me 21, will be my solution to this expression. If it said to evaluate that expression when x equals 2, our answer would be 21. You're going to get a numerical answer. So now we're going to look at the other one, if x is worth negative 3 instead. So again, I'm still going to plug in. I'm going to replace the x's with the negative 3. And that was x squared plus 5 times x. X happens to be negative 3. And then plus 3 on the outside. So again, I'm going to do my exponents first. Now, you need to be very careful. From this part in the year on, you need to be careful when you're plugging things into your calculator, that whenever you are squaring something, whenever there's a little 2 above here, or a little 3, or another little number, or you're doing anything with a negative number, this is negative 3 right here, you always need to have that in parentheses, or else your calculator is going to be silly and not give you the correct answer. I know a negative times a negative is a positive. Well, negative 3 squared is really negative 3 times negative 3. And so you know that's supposed to be positive 9. But your calculator, if you don't put that in parentheses correctly, it's going to say it's negative 9, which is not true. So I have 2 times negative 3 squared is worth positive 9. Right, and I'm going to copy down everything else. Plus 5 times negative 3 plus 3. Okay, so next is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply these things together and then multiply those together. So 2 times 9 is 18, plus 5 times negative 3 is negative 15, and then I have a plus 3. So the last is I combine these numbers together. 18 plus a negative 15 is going to be a positive 3. If I add 3 to that, I'll get a 6. So my final answer here is going to be a 6. Okay, so again, make sure if you're doing negative numbers that you put them in parentheses. So this one was we had something squared. Now we're going to do another example where we're evaluating, and it's in a fraction. So we're going to do the same thing, plug in x is worth 5. So wherever I see an x, right here and right here, those are going to become 5s now. So I have negative 4 times 5 divided by 5. I'll put that in there, 5 plus 6. So I'm just writing it like this so you can see I'm just replacing the x's with the number 5. Okay, so then I'm going to multiply the top, that's the next order of operations. multiply this top negative 4 times 5 is going to be negative 20. And then the denominator is really this 5 plus 6, so that's going to be 11. So negative 20 over 11 would be the solution for that problem. If you look at this other one here, we're saying x is worth negative 6. So I'm going to, again, write my expression, but replace the x with the negative 6. Okay. So we just replaced x with that number. We're plugging it in. So we're going to start with the numerator. Negative 4 times negative 6 should be a positive 24. The denominator, negative 6 plus 6 is 0. Now, we should have heard in class that that is not allowed. You're not allowed to divide by 0. If you type this in your calculator, type it in, you're going to get an error. Okay, so when I do that, that means there's no solution. I'm not allowed to divide by 0. So I can't just simply get rid of that 0. I have to say no to the whole thing. So there is no solution if you want me to evaluate the expression when x is worth negative 6. So there's no answer if you get a 0 on the denominator of a fraction. Okay? So again, make sure things with negatives that you're using parentheses, but all you're doing to evaluate expressions is replacing the variable, the letter x or y, or whatever letter it is, with the number that is given to you in the problem.